people like yourself. I was run over by a car when I was a kid, and by all means, I should have died. I was 10 years old, and
Oh,
maybe something there. I don't want to go into it because I don't like to think about it too much. I don't remember much of it, but maybe there was an outer body experience of some type there. So I just,
yeah, there
I don't,
was.
yeah, I don't, definitely something saved me that day or something was with me that day because I shouldn't have lived. So it was, I guess maybe
Mm,
that's my attraction to people like near-death experiencers, wanting to know
yeah,
exactly what's on the other side. I know that you've had an experience. I just briefly read about you here. It was in was it a Dairy Queen? I think you said I
it
read.
was. Yep,
Yeah,
the
so
bathroom of a Dairy Queen.
yeah, I know you've probably elaborated on that, but for this specific channel, if you wouldn't mind dabbling into that a bit to just kind of hit the history of it so people can,
Sure.
yeah, if you don't mind.
Your audience, what are they more into? Because I can go whichever direction you want.
It's a pretty broad audience. I'll give them that. A lot of them want to hear near-death experiences about time on the other side, like
Okay.
the things you may have seen there, who you interacted with, and what message you may have for the people, when you came back.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got it.
Okay. Hold on.
Well, awesome. Um, yeah, are you good? Do you need a drink of water? Use the restroom real quick? Anything?
No, I'm all set, man.
Okay.
I will mute
Nice.
myself though, so that I don't have any background interference.
Okay. Yeah, no
Okay.
worries. I think I am going to use the restroom really quick.
Okay, sounds good. I'll hold on for you.
Okay. That's just right here. So I'll just be one
Okay.
sec. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm back here.
Hey, I'm still here. The power of suggestion, I guess, man. I had to run up to the bathroom myself.
I
Crazy.
learned if there's even a 20% chance I'll need to go, I might as well go before. Yeah.
I hear you. Totally agree.
All
So
right. Well, I'm ready to go when you are.
I'm set.
Do you need a little clackety clack for your editing?
I think I'll be good with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do this. We'll do this. There we go. There you go. And then go ahead and intro it.
Yeah. Okay. So this is Vinney Tolman. Is that how you pronounce your last name?
Yep.
Vinney Tolman. A lot of people have probably heard about you, but you've had a near-death experience that you're going to share with us, if that's okay by you. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions coming at you from my viewers. So, is there a particular way they could reach out to you?
Yeah, they can message through. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. They can also message directly through my website at livinggodslight.org.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. So, to the viewers out there, that's how you would contact Vinny. I know you're probably a busy man, Vinny. So, give some patience on responses.
Yeah, yeah. Be ultimate patience. I get yeah, overwhelmingly responded to the public with me. So I do respond where I can, but for about I respond to about 20 to 30 emails or texts every day. And that's not even 5% of how many come at me every day. So I do try to get at them, but I can't get at all of them, but we're trying. we've hired some people to help me, and
Well,
yeah,
that's awesome. You're willing to do that because there's a lot of near-death experience people that it's not that they don't really care to do it, but it's probably too overwhelming for them. So
yeah,
great to see people that are stepping up to the plate. So I appreciate that, and I'm sure everybody else does. And you had the near-death experience back in, was it 2003? I believe
it
I read.
was, yeah, 2003. So just had my 22nd death anniversary. Yeah,
Happy Death Day then. But so would you like to talk about that a little bit and maybe go into the details?
absolutely. So January 18th, 2003, I was found in a Dairy Queen bathroom where I had aspirated. I was pronounced dead and put in a body bag and taken to go turn into the medical examiner. And on the way there, there was a rookie medic. He listened to his intuition. He listened to a message that said I wasn't all the way gone. And he went ahead and broke protocol, opened up that body bag and was able to get my heart to start again. And that's kind of where it all begins for me.
Oh wow, that's cool. That's kind of sounds like a story I read about a gentleman named can't quite remember this gentleman's name, but he had a very similar experience to that. So you may have heard of him. If I could remember his name, I'm sure you would. But okay, so when you because of that rookie, he was basically able to resuscitate you, I take it.
He was able to get the heart to start again. He was able to get oxygen back into the lungs. So he was able to get the earliest signs of life back going. And then one of the miracles of all of it, not just the fact that he revived me out of a body bag, but when he did that, he was about 100 feet from a hospital.
Oh
So they
wow.
were they were able to go directly to a hospital and turn me in and start working on me.
Awesome. Well, it's amazing how the Holy Spirit works. Did you spend like how much time were you on the other side, or like do you have that in your mind, or
Well, I was cold when they found me, so they estimate that I was probably gone minimum 30 minutes, maximum about an hour before they found me. And then from the time they found me to the time they started my heart was 47 minutes. So you add that 47 minutes of documented death on top of whatever time you can allocate. So we're at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half, maybe hour 45. Yeah.
this is not being resuscitated or nothing?
Yeah, not being resuscitated, no heartbeat, no oxygen rate, no sign of life whatsoever. And then you compound that when they did bring my body back or get the heart to start again, I was still brain dead for 3 days. So for 3 days, I was there. I was on the other side. I was in our real existence because that is the real existence. This is the illusion. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been hearing that from a lot of near-death experience people. So on the other side, was there like any particular people that you met or entities of any type?
Well, I thought I met God right away. But the gentleman, he corrected me right away and said, "No, I'm not God." He said his name was Drake, and he was my guide. He was there to help me go wherever I wanted to go, and he really said you could go anywhere in the universe. And so for just a second, I was thinking of all these nebulas and beautiful places that I had, ever since they came out with these high powered telescopes. I had been monitoring space, and I loved these beautiful nebulas, these beautiful constellations and galaxies. So I thought about it for a second, but right away I noticed this tremendous love. This love was just pouring off of this guy, my guide.
Mhm.
And so I told him, I go, "Hey, where's that coming from? That energy, that love?" And he said, "Oh, that's coming from your home. I could take you there if you want." And I said, "Yeah, I do want to go there. Let's go towards home." And so we began our journey.
That's crazy. So I'm not again, I've only had a brief introduction to your story. So did you I'm not sure if you're a Christian or not, but did you meet a Jesus figure or was Drake classified in his place or
So I didn't meet Jesus himself, and I think, there's many different reasons why I didn't meet him himself. But when I got to the heavenly realm, like the actual place that I would call our spiritual home, as soon as I got there, I plugged in and I felt the love coming from the place itself. And that love I could feel was the Christ. It is the Christ. It is the what I would consider myself to know Christ to be.
Mhm.
This unconditional, grace-filled love that we could do nothing to deserve. There's nothing we can do to deserve that love. The fact that we exist, though, is what gives us the ability to have that love.
Awesome. It's good to hear that. Kind of switching gears a bit on you here. Did you like I've talked to other NDEers that said that they've came back with certain things that they didn't leave with. Some people say that they're clairvoyant, others say that they remember their story perfectly, others say they're filled with a certain ability to see the other side still. Like Howard Storm I had mentioned earlier, he said that he could see angels and demons and bad entities. Um, do you have any gifts like that that you
I had um, I had the gift of perception before I had my experience. I could see good energy and dark energy around people. I didn't know that not everybody could see that. I thought everybody had kind of a way of doing that. I just assumed that. Um, I also had a little bit of the gift of tongues. As long as I was doing service to my fellow man, then I was able to learn foreign languages
oh,
like fluently and speak native. So, in pursuit of serving others, I learned to speak Vietnamese fluently and a little Cambodian, a little Thai.
wow, that's
But
amazing.
yeah, again, it came from that gift, not from my own efforts, because my efforts weren't enough to get me what I got.
Uh, that makes sense. Well, that's it's amazing. That's a miracle by itself. Um, did you when you were on the other side, was there any like specific things that stood out to you? Like was there maybe like time travel? Angels, demons, I don't know.
Angels are real. I saw angels. I saw how real they were and are. I
Mhm.
saw that they're everywhere. They're not just in our universe. They're not just in our galaxy, not just in our Earth school, but they're everywhere, all over the universe. Yeah, and I also did notice that one of the main reasons we're here is just to learn. And I thought for sure we were here to be judged. I really believed that. When I left to go towards the heavenly realm, I thought for sure, life was just a test and God was going to throw away a bunch of us and save some of us. That's what I believed when I started that journey. And boy, did I have a different perspective when I got back.
Mm.
And I did have some gifts, some remnant gifts. My spirit connection is much stronger. In fact, that's what I do for my 9 to 5 is I help people activate their own spirituality, activate their own gifts, activate their own spiritual strengths, spiritual connections, and help them amplify their own life. I'm a life coach.
Man, I'd love to be able to do that. Like, I mean, have somebody activate that for me because there's something in me that sees and feels, but it seems like it's being suppressed. Maybe, I don't know, it's an individual thing, I guess, where I don't know, there's a gift in me that I can't seem to tap into. Not, I think we all have that, but I can kind
Hmm.
of recognize mine and I just can't use it. So that's kind of cool that you're able to help people do that. And I'd
A
love to be
big,
on that.
yeah, big part of that process is understanding what's becoming like a hurdle or a speed bump or a block to your gift, and going in and loving that part and releasing it, letting it go, not letting it be a hurdle anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. So, going back to your near-death experience, because that's what the channel is, a lot of people want me to talk about. If I'm kind of being pushy here, I apologize.
No
But
worries.
the near-death experience of my friend Howard Storm, I use him as my example because he's became a kind of a mentor to me over the last few years. He said there was a hellish experience. Did you experience anything of that nature?
Well, in the process of dying, I did. And here's how it happened for me. Um, Everybody is going to end up going through a life review.
Mhm.
And my life review where I saw the bad that I did first. And when I got to the end of seeing all the bad that I ever did, even the stuff I did as a young child, that was, if there was a hell at part of my experience, that was it. But as soon as I got to the end of it, I had a thought, why do I even exist if this is all that I am? And as soon as I had that thought, this warmth just overtook me. And then I started to see all the good I ever did. And then I started my experience right after that. Yeah. So to me, it wasn't so much of a hell of an experience, but I know about, I've studied NDEs now ever since I had my own.
Mhm.
And it's right around 18% of near death experiencers have some kind of hell experience. And almost exclusively, it's happening while they still feel pain. So there's a feeling of pressure, a feeling of pain, a feeling of suffering, and one instantaneous notation you can take to anyone who's actually died is as soon as your body has died, there is no pain, none. There's no possible pain, and in fact, it's the opposite. It feels freeing, it feels beautiful, it feels amazing. So to me, from my own observations, I would say those who experienced the hell experience, they were doing it while their body was dying. Yeah.
So is there like it from your understanding, is there an actual place of hell? Like with
Um, yeah, we're connecting through Zoom right now on it. This is it.
so it's hell. Hell
This
is on
is
earth, basically.
it's pretty much here and what we can create up here.
So maybe we should be a little, easier on ourselves in the run of the day is what I'm thinking.
Absolutely we should. Absolutely we should.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest hurdles. You mentioned hurdles earlier, and my biggest hurdle is a disappointment. I was raised in a Catholic church by older parents. My dad, if he was alive today, would be in his 90s, and my mom is in her 80s. So old school Catholic, where there's a lot of judgment and a lot of not to downsize the Catholics. They done wonderful things for me as well, but because of that dogma pushed into my mind, I think I still have a problem of, overcoming those hurdles personally. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. That's why I think I'm fascinated by a story like yours and other people's stories. So, switching gears a bit here again, Vinny, I'm sorry if I'm jumping subject to subject on you, but
No, you're good. You're
yeah,
good.
one of the questions I got was, is there a piece of information you took back from the other side that you can offer to humanity today to help them get over their hurdles?
Absolutely. Look at your religion. If you're active in religion, look at it as what it is. It can be a tool or a vehicle to lift you, to help you get closer to your creator, or it can be an anchor to keep you from your greatness, keep you from your creator. And what it plays for you is what you choose to let it play. It doesn't matter what you think it's playing. It's what you choose to allow it to play. So let your religion play to be a tool to strengthen your connection to source, strengthen your connection to God, and not to be that anchor to keep you away from God. Yeah.
That makes sense. It's the best way I've heard it articulated. So another question was, what was the most unexpected or profound part of your journey, and how has it shaped you as an individual today?
Well, the big thing for me is I had the hardest time understanding why we would choose to leave our home. I
Mhm.
did. As soon as I got there, I'm like, why would we ever leave here? This place is so amazing and so full of everything we seek out here. So, all the things we seek out here are like peace and glory and happiness and rest and balance. All these feelings that we turn to, our careers, our finances, our our drug and alcohols to deliver to us. Those are freely given there, all of those things. In fact, anything you could desire here, or at least the outcome of that desire. We desire specific things here to deliver us specific feelings.
Mhm.
And over there, those feelings are just freely given to us without effort. It's just there's so much love there. Instantly we feel like the celebrity. We feel like the most respected, most loved, most cared for. And one of the first things you have to fight off is this desire to feel unworthy for everything that's being given to you there. And then you realize you're worthy because you're created by the creator. That's why you're worthy.
Yeah,
There's not an action you can take to make you worthy of that much love.
amazing. So, is there an answer to your question why we actually come down to this planet from the?
Yeah, it's silly too. It's not silly, but it is silly. It's beautiful.
Mhm.
When we were in our home, um, we were so synchronistic with that love, that strong force of love. Anything that the creator wanted, we wanted. We could not disseminate our thoughts, our desires from our creator. And we knew that. So we got together, put our souls together to create a plan that we would volunteer, some of us, to come down to Earth School. There's a lot of other schools, but the amount of life experience, the amount of progress we get out of Earth School is one of the most vast experiences, the most progress that a soul can take on. And the reason why here the growth is so strong is because our duality is so great. On in Earth School, we have amazing, selfless, Christ-like people from all religions. And then we have the opposite. We have evil, bad, selfish beings. And in a place that you could have such a broad distance between the good and the bad, the win factor is large, but so is the fail factor, right? The loss factor. And that's why Earth School is one of the hardest schools to get into. There's, I would say, majority of the universe wants to get here, but they can't. They've got to cut the mustard first before they can get to here.
Well, I'd trade places with them in a heartbeat, I think, some
I
days.
know
Yeah.
we say that, but there is no such thing as time in the eternities,
Mhm.
because if there is no time eternally, there's no time even here. We just have the perception of time. And if your soul is eternal, which most of us who are religious or even a-religious know that our soul is eternal because energy can't be destroyed.
That makes
We know
sense.
that in physics, you can't destroy energy. So whatever the energy is of your soul, you can't destroy it. That means you couldn't have necessarily created it. You could form it, you could gather it, you could bring it together. And and understanding that there's no beginning to your wheel, there's no end to your wheel. And if you've got eternal shots at trying to get to Earth School, you're going to do whatever you can to get there.
Well, that's encouraging, for especially for the souls that haven't got here yet. So, on that note, if you do come here, you talked about win, whether it be a good or a bad person on this planet, for example, good or evil. The people that remain evil until their death, their day of death, I guess, or till they die, um, do they go back to their creator, to God? Do they go to hell? Do they separate? Do they come back here? Well,
That depends on them. Um, you can't lie to yourself there. So, after you exit the human body and you go back to your eternal state, which is the soul, and you're feeling that pull, that tug. We all came from our eternal home. We all did. So when we exit our bodies, our soul is naturally pulled back to that place. But there are all sorts of guides that are there to help guide us on that path to get back. If we don't want to go back, though, we don't have to go back. We can stay here forever. We can, you know, roam the earth to the end of our energy, or until we feel like we've done enough of that, and then we can go. But it's all up to us. It's our direction, our desire. There's nothing that's going to make that choice for us. We have to make that choice. We either embrace the light, we embrace the love, or we run away from it. And sometimes when we've been lying to ourselves our whole life, playing the victim when there's been other victims way worse than us, we don't want to face that reality. We don't want to face the end to the lie that we've been telling ourselves. So we may run away from the light for a while. That's okay. There will be a constant force of love upon us. And eventually the love will win. It will. It will always win out. And
Mhm.
eventually we embrace that love. We return to our home.
Okay, that's it's a wonderful way of putting it. Different way than I've ever heard it being put, but I certainly like that way.
Yeah, you
Um,
have to go on a tourist visa to heaven to see that way.
Yeah, yeah, I wish I could get that. Some days, other days, I'm just glad I don't know how I'd react to it because as I mentioned earlier here, I'm going to say a nanosecond of that other side in my life
Hmm.
about 8 or 9 years ago, 8 years ago, changed my life profoundly. So, I don't know if I could handle that much love in one shot. Who knows, but maybe I will at some point, I'm sure. But right now, I think I'm just happy trying to help other people understand it and talk to people like you, or like at least hear your story. Um, I
Yeah,
I do work at a homeless shelter, and I see a lot of people that addiction, mental illness, trauma. So I feel like I've been put there for a reason. So I do my best to help them in any way I can and encourage them to maybe seek out a different life without judgment. If you understand what
yeah,
it's very hard to do because some people are trapped in their circumstances. But it's in stories like this, being able to talk to people like yourself, I can kind of mention what I may have taken from this talk that we're having, and maybe pass on some type of message to lost souls, I guess, for
yeah.
lack of better words.
I'll tell you, there's no such thing as a lost soul. All souls are known. All souls are being essentially cared for in the right manner. But if we don't want that attention, we are allowed to walk away from it till we run out of energy in that direction. Then finally the love catches up with us.
Gotcha. That's awesome. That's actually encouraging. That's a good encouraging piece of advice because for myself, I'm often beating myself up saying, I'm probably on my way to hell. I deserve it. But I also say other days, maybe not. Now, if there is an enemy, he does press at me quite a bit. I feel a lot of negativeness around me, and I'm sure a lot of other people do. So the advice you're giving is great. It's very uplifting. So
Hmm.
I do appreciate the story. When you were on the other side, you had a gentleman you called, or an entity, I guess, named Drake. Does Drake stay
Yeah,
with you today, or does Drake wait for
he
you on the other side?
does. I work with Drake every week. I do work with the archangels. I work with the archetypes. I work with those the world calls ascended masters. I work with um, ancestors who dwell in the light. I work with all sorts of spirits and souls who essentially are an embodiment of that light that I experienced in heaven. Yeah.
What, if you don't mind me getting kind of blunt here, what form of work do you mean? Like just help talk to each other, or
So part of the work that I do is I stay plugged into the heaven network, the love network that I experienced while I was in heaven. And being plugged in there, it gives me access to clarity and the gift of perception to understand, someone might bring me a problem and I'm able to see right through it for them,
Mhm.
and I help them see the way that heaven lets me see it. And sometimes that's perfect. That's all they needed. Now they can address their own things and take care of it. Other times, nobody had ever, tipped them off onto how to see it the right way. And so now they kind of scramble, reform a new agenda for their life, and I try to give them some assistance in that path. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, that's something I'd love to be able to tap into myself. There's a struggle I face right now. I'm on my career path. I feel I was called into a certain, excuse me, a certain career path. I'm a carpenter by trade, but a few
Hmm.
years ago I was called into law enforcement, and there's a lot of hurdles getting to that position where I'm at right, like where I want to go. Meaning like things that are from my past that are holding me back, which I've cleared up, but I can't seem to get the opportunity to go into it right now. So I'm fighting for it. So
Yeah.
um,
And what's neat about life is sometimes heaven will have us think that the goal is law enforcement so that we'll go and we'll clean up some things in our record or start moving in that direction. But what we didn't realize is that nudge wasn't for us to get into law enforcement. it was to clear up the record so we could get the other job that they were preparing us for. But they couldn't show us that job from the beginning. We would have turned it down and said, nah, we can't do that.
Mhm.
But after 2 years of fighting your record, you find out about this job and you're like, well, that would be kind of perfect. And then you step into it. So um, other times they show us something like law enforcement or law or civil rights or whatever, and you step into it right away. It goes easy, goes smooth. But a lot of times when there's the resistance like that, it's because it's not necessarily the goal that they want you to get into. They want you to aim at that. And then when you come short of it, you're in the exact spot that they were planning on putting you the whole time.
Okay, that's good advice because I've came short a few times. My own due to myself, but because of the circumstances that led me to where I'm at right now, as far as education, being funded for it, I don't know what it's like in the United States, but in Canada, it's damn near impossible to go to school without having your own money. But money fell into my lap, got me into these courses, passed the courses with honors. Not to brag, but I mean, if you, yeah, I have dyslexia, right? So it's hard for me to retain knowledge a lot, and the circumstances made me believe I was on the right path. So, and I'm still into that. I'm still working on my education on my degree for criminology. So I feel
Yeah.
like, what you said made sense to me. So maybe I'm, going towards that for myself, but maybe it's just whatever. I'm not sure exactly how you termed it, but you said that they
And
is.
what I would do if I were you, I would take a look at all jobs that a degree in criminology would lead to,
Mhm.
and just be aware of all the jobs, not just the one that you were thinking about when you set out on this path, but look at all of those jobs and then take a moment pretending for a day that you would be doing just that job for a day, and do those one at a time till you've gone through the whole list. And what you'll find is as you get to one of them is going to feel like freedom. One of them is going to feel like the kids showing up to the playground. One of them is going to give you 10 times the energy as any of the others. And that's how you know that was the one you were meant to go down from the beginning. Even though they might have made you believe it was to go into law enforcement, maybe as an officer or something like that. Yeah.
Well, I'll definitely do that. I felt like I've done that a certain amount. I feel a draw to corrections or at least restorative justice for some reason because of what
Mm-hmm.
something like that. So, which I never wanted to get into, by the way. I never wanted to be corrections or, restorative justice, but I feel like I'd be good at it and I feel like I would like it. So, just because I was a bit of a criminal in my past, right? I wasn't a terrible man, but I used to do stupid things when I was younger.
Yeah.
And so, I never felt like I'd be in that position. Anyways, good advice. So I don't want to get a session out of you here for free. So I want to
Well,
talk more
also,
about
I would for you, I would look into the aftercare of prisons and corrections. Look into what happens to an individual in the correction system
Mhm.
after they leave, and what's their success rate. How
Mhm.
much of a chance do they have to stay out of the system, and how much of a chance do they have to reoccur, right? Um, and taking a look at the aftercare, you're going to find some really neat little spots and niches where this degree in criminology is going to put you in that spot if you want to be, if that's one of the spots that inspires you.
I'll definitely do that for sure. That's great advice. So I'll focus on that. I appreciate you offering that to me. I know you didn't have to do that, so it's very appreciated.
Well, I
Uh,
love what I do. I really do. I put my head on the pillow every night with this knowing that I'm living as close as I can to my fullest. And I do it every day. I love that. There's not too many people. I wasn't able to do it for many years. I had to have a career in the world, and I did really work really good in that world. And I stepped away from, I would say, a very highly successful financial career, working in an industry that did not inspire me in any way. And I was able to step away from that and help people. And I'll tell you what, the future for all of us is to find your soul calling, Find what inspires you, because in 2025, 2026, 2027, you're not going to be able to do dead end jobs anymore. They won't inspire you. Plus, technology is going to be replacing people left and right. You're going to need to be that standout, that passionate individual who is doing something because they feel impassioned about what they're doing. Yeah,
So
that's
that's
our
what the future.
future.
Yeah, I was actually going to touch on the future with you a little bit. Is there outside of the I'm assuming you mean AI and automated things taking over for us.
Yes.
So we'll
Yeah.
understand those. So is there a future where we don't have AI in it? I don't know if you can see the future or
It's kind of like saying, once we discovered relativity, how do we hide that from ourselves? We can't. Once
yeah.
AI has been discovered, and once it's outside of a complete electrical reset to the entire planet, AI is here to stay. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's not a bad thing to have it, but you
It's
know,
duality. So there's terrific things about AI, but there are horrible, dark, very crazy things about AI as well.
yeah.
When you're someone like me who I can sense and sometimes see the energy behind certain things,
Mhm.
and AI is like a fast forward on our timeline of life here on Earth.
Meaning like it's ahead of its time sort of thing, or
No, it's essentially we were already on a certain destination as society, as humanity. All it's doing now is hitting fast forward and getting us there much faster. And that's for good and bad both. So, I say this: utilize it, but don't worship it. There will be
yeah,
people that will eventually start worshiping AI. I
yeah.
promise you that. That's going to be a fact. People will actually set up religious type structures around the AI.
That's kind of scary. Is God going to allow that to carry through for the rest of humanity, or is he going to do
God
it?
put us here to make a decision. God doesn't make decisions for us. Yeah. The true creator, not the religious version of God that most religions talk about. They think that, they teach us that God is some bored man sitting up in the clouds watching us and striking down some people and lifting up others. But if that was a real thing, why is there really bad people with lots of resources and lots of blessings?
Yeah,
Uh,
that's true.
and what I learned right away is getting to the other side, everything about our life here is to have the ability to choose. And if we have the ability to choose good, we have to have the ability to choose bad. They're just as important as each other for the option. Now, me personally, I don't like choosing the bad ones anymore. When I was younger, I chose a lot of bad stuff. Not anymore. I like choosing the good stuff. But for you to grow, you have to have the ability of choosing between good and bad. If you take away the bad choices, if you're the God that says, I'm going to create a bubble of perfection, nobody can get hurt, that's where we were before we got here.
Hmm.
Why would we come here? There's no growth. Our growth comes from choosing.
So when we come here and grow, we go back to where we just came from
Yeah,
to
we
achieve
get we
that
go
growth.
back through the bubble of protection. So this veil of forgetfulness that we have to go through, by the way, because if we can remember how much our creator loves us, that's just as good as making the decision for you.
Hmm.
Truly, if you knew how much your creator loves you, you would also reciprocate that love. The decisions are all made for you. You're going to choose the best possible decision to honor the love that source has for you and you for source. Now, because there is this veil of forgetfulness, we get to choose, sometimes for self-interest, sometimes for the interest of the whole, or the overwhelming higher purpose for what we choose. And what you'll learn is the more that you look to the greater good for your decisions, even if it is at your own demise, you get a very Christ type energy coming out of your individual life. Even if you weren't a follower of Christ, you still get that energy coming out.
That's wonderful to hear. Do So it's talking about Christ, because I do want to kind of touch on that. You said that we have a veil of forgetfulness that God can, I guess he chooses not to, or he won't interfere in our decisions, which is great.
Yep.
So then what would be the purpose of Christ to come down to this planet and die, suffer and die and be
Well,
resurrected?
God was watching how life was playing out, and God was watching all these clerics and rabbis and leaders of clergy essentially try to lead the world's spirituality. And that's when our creator realized I need to give them a reality check of how I really care about them. And so to me, you don't have to agree with this or not, but to me, Christ is God's son. Christ is a direct creation of our creator with Mary. And Christ is not just anointed, because that's what Christ means. Christ wasn't just foretold. Christ is the example of how much our creator loves us. Because Christ, as he was being crucified, put up on a cross, being targeted by his own people, as this is happening, he's carrying the power of healing. He's carrying the power of God on him. And he had shown it to people in little ways and in some big ways. He showed that he carried that power of creator on him. And while he's holding that power and being scorned and scourged and being crucified, the moment that he could show God's retaliation to us, what did he do? He begged for our forgiveness. He says, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." That's the love our creator has for us. There's no doubt in my mind. That's the love our creator has for us. That's the love I tasted, I felt, I breathed when I was in heaven. And there's
Absolutely.
nothing in this world that can change my view on that.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's very it's an agape type of love. And I'd like to be able to get to that someday. And
Well,
like
the beautiful thing is we all have that love inside of us. But sometimes it takes having a child to let it out. Sometimes it takes being an artist and creating things. Or you're a craftsman, you're a carpenter. You work really hard on something for 6 months. You finally get done. You put that finish on that carpentry, on that cabinet or that beautiful work of art that you created. And that glory in being able to create, to form out of raw something beautiful, engineered and designed. That's the power of thought right here that we all have. It's just some of us don't allow us to have it at the thought level. We wait until we've actually created something like a child or a piece of work, an art, and then we allow that love to be accessed.
well, that's a wonderful way of of recognizing that. So there's a lot more I'd like to ask you. Our time's kind of coming to an end here. I know that you're a busy guy, so I don't want to suck up all your time, but I do appreciate the interview you offered me, and the viewers, like I said, they're going to probably be messaging me to message you, but I'll send them directly to you if that's okay. I
Absolutely.
do notice you have a couple books in the background there. From what I'm seeing, Living the Light, I think that one says.
Yeah, so I've got two books. I've got The Light After Death. That's my primary book. Came out almost 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years ago in this August. It's an international bestseller. Great book. It's just a telling of my experience. That's it. Just tells my experience. No fancy story before my experience. No fancy story after, except for just confirmations of how I found out my experience was real and it wasn't a delusion. For anybody who wants to understand who I am and why I am the way I am, that book's the best place to begin. And it's a quick read, only takes a couple hours to read it. And then the follow-up book is called Living the Light, and that's a workbook because I received or I was kind of babied or taken like a kindergartner through my experience by a guide. And that guide, he really helped me level up my love score. He helped me level up my understanding of why we're here. And he taught me 10 very specific principles to do that. And so this workbook, Living the Light, is taking those 10 principles and putting them out there as a workbook style book that you can go through yourself, or you could go through it as a small group and become a facilitator and teach others about it. It's just a way of taking who you are now, whether you're religious or non religious, even atheist or agnostic, you can go through this and you can understand a better way of being who you are without changing all your belief systems, you know?
Well, I'm definitely going to pick up a copy of each one of those. Is there a specific spot that you could, direct people to go to, or like
Yeah, so we sell them all through livinggodslight.org. Yeah.
okay, so right to your basically
Yeah,
your
just to
website.
our nonprofit, we do it all through there. Yeah.
Okay, well that's awesome. I do appreciate the time, Vinny. Like I said, I could ask you questions for the rest of the night, but I won't do that yet. And your message is wonderful. So I will
Well, yeah,
upload.
Corey.
Yeah,
If there's anything the public could understand this, that the creator force is so much bigger than what religion could teach us, and so much more encompassing some individual ego that church teaches. Understand that our creator is very real, and our creator loves us, and our creator wants us to be happy. And if we can embody that, we can change our life. We can change the lives of our families, change the lives of those around us, just by putting deposits of love everywhere we go. Yeah.
posits of love. I like that. Okay, I'm gonna live by that advice, so you know. And to anybody else watching the video, live by that advice. It's wonderful advice. So I really do appreciate the time. And if you want to send me the link to this video, because I believe it was you who's recording it, I'll make sure it gets edited and sent out to YouTube as quickly as I can.
Awesome. Sounds great, Corey.
All right, I
Thanks so much,
appreciate it
brother.
again. You're welcome. And we'll talk again,
Awesome.
hopefully, maybe someday.
Okay. Sounds good,
Okay.
brother.
Okay, have a
Take
good night.
care.